What's up, everyone? Back for another Whodunit Beer review, and today's beer once again comes courtesy of a very good friend of mine and a viewer of the channel, Steven. So huge thanks to him for this beer, and also I have to apologize to Steven, and that's because he actually gave me this beer back in August of 2021 at the 2021 BeerTuber Palooza that was hosted by a good friend of ours and fellow BeerTuber Matt over at Massive Beer Reviews. Yeah, it's pretty funny because Steven is a super nice guy, extremely generous, and he came to BeerTuber Palooza with a beer mail for every single BeerTuber that was there, myself included. Now, I didn't bring back my channel until October of 2021, so the vast majority of the beers that were in that beer mail, I just drank off camera. There was a couple from Tox that I did review on the channel, but this one got lost in the shuffle. That's because when I came home from BeerTuber Palooza, I just threw everything in the fridge. And recently, I bought a new beer fridge, and I was moving a bunch of beers over, and I noticed this one. It was like kind of buried in the corner, and I was like, the hell is that? Is that a mystery beer? And then I'm like, oh, I think he actually included a couple mystery beers in the box. The other one we did was a group review, and he wrote all on it. It was a can. This one, I just totally forgot about it, so I am super sorry, Steven, but I am getting to it now, and that's the beauty about Whodunit / mystery beers. Doesn't matter when you review them. This one could be super old, super fresh, doesn't matter. I got to try to figure out what is in the bottle, and that's the beauty of it. So once again, I apologize to Steven. Now, if you're unfamiliar with what Whodunit beer reviews are, they're basically blind / mystery beer reviews where somebody will wrap up and conceal a beer like Steven did with this one. They will then either send or give me said beer, and I'll review the beer like I do any other beer on my channel, with the lone exception being, of course, I have no idea what it is. So at the end of the review, I try to guess the beer style, its ABV, and then I rate it before revealing it to both you and myself. So what do we know about this one? Well, it's in a 12-ounce bottle, I believe. It has Goodyear tire paper on it. I think it was like an ad in like the newspaper that he just used. And I'm not going to bullshit you here, and this is where you got to be honest with these. With the last one I did, it was a can from a good friend of mine and fellow beer tuber, Ridge over at Ridgeopolis. I didn't look on the bottom of the can in case there was a date, and there turned out to be one. I'm going to try to not do that going forward, but with this one, it's bottle on dates on the bottle, and you can see it right there. I don't know if it's going to show up great on camera, but this was bottled on June 18th of 2021. So right now, as I review this, it's about 7 months old. So the one good thing I will say is that looking at this is going to look probably pitch black or darker on camera, but I can see through the bottle. This is not, I don't think this is like a stout. It might be like a barley wine, old ale, red ale, something. I don't know. We'll see. That's the beauty about this one. So I have to get this off without looking at the cap. So that's going to be something we're going to try to do here. We accomplished it, I think. So what I'm going to do is just put the cap over here flat. I'm not going to, a lot of times I'll rest it against the coaster, but not this time. Oh, I think this is barrel aged. I smelled something as soon as I cracked that. Anyway, let's give it a pour. I'm using my huge oversized wine glass just so I can fit it all in here and still be able to get a nose. Okay, I guess I was wrong. It's not pitch black. I can see, like, it's like a cola color. And in the glass, it looks pitch black. We'll say that. All right, so do this. I'm going to cheat a little bit here with that taste. Okay, so there are sheets on there. This is definitely a high ABV beer. I'm going to guess at least 9%, maybe at least 10%, something like that, just looking at it. So in the glass, it still has like, this looks like a Coca-Cola or a Dr. Pepper. On camera, again, it's going to be pitch black. But in person, it has this like darker brown here at the bottom. As it goes up, it becomes more of an opaque black. Had about a half finger of this, I'd say, brown colored head. I can't really swirl anything up too much. I mean, you get a little bit there, maybe a finger. Yeah, it's like a straight up brown colored head, mocha colored head. Lots of alcohol legs, as I said. So this looks like, I would say, like an imperial stout of some form. Maybe, I don't know. Let's get a nose. Okay, so this is barrel aged. I can pretty much, I'm not going to guarantee that right off the rip, but I'm pretty confident this is barrel aged. I want to say Belgian stout. That's what I want to say. I want to say Belgian stout because I'm getting a lot of like crazy dark fruit components here. Raisins, plum, date, maybe even like a little like spicy, vanilla kind of yeast thing. It's a lot of like dark chocolate, molasses, sweeter caramel, but there's this nice like drying aspect to the nose. Again, I feel like this is barrel aged, some kind of whiskey or bourbon barrel. Maybe rum. Maybe it's a rum barrel. Some kind of barrel, right? It smells big and boozy. It smells warming. Do one more swirl and try to get a big nose. Now, the beer fridge that I moved everything to, I keep around like 50 to 52. So I kind of grabbed this right out of the fridge. I wish, again, I looked at it, through and I guess could see the lights and stuff. And I'm thinking, well, I don't know. It's probably going to be a bigger beer, but I'm trying to review every Whodunit / mystery beer right out of that fridge. So I wish this was like another 5 to 10 degrees warm, honestly, because it feels a little cool in my hand. Is there any adjuncts? I don't know. It could be like cocoa nibs, maybe vanilla, maybe a fruit edition. Could that be like cherry or raspberry or something? I don't fucking know. I have no idea. I need to taste this one because the nose, there's like 75 different guesses right now, and I just don't know. So let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Thanks again, Steven. First thing I will say, there's a huge drying aspect that reminds me of oak tannin dryness. I'm going to say this is it oak tannins or is that just a big bitterness? Fuck my life, I have no idea. Let's talk about the body and mouthfeel. Body in this one's like lower side of full, medium full, has a big half. I'm going to say at least 10%. This could be closer to like 11, 12. It's big. It's real big. The mouthfeel really soft, smooth, and creamy. Yeah, a little bit of carbonation, undercarb, really soft and smooth, somewhat creamy on the palate. This is boozy. I'm getting an astringency on the palate that would indicate this is definitely not barrel aged, a big beer, some kind of imperial beer. There is such a substantial dryness on my palate that it's bitter, but it's also like oak tannin-esque. Right at the forefront, there is a huge, like, roasty malt character. There's bittering dark chocolate, like more of like a 60, 70, 80% cacao bar. It was sweeter in the nose. In the taste, this is more bitter. I am starting to think now, coming back, I think this is like a huge Russian Imperial Stout. Is it barrel aged or not? I don't know. If it's barrel aged, it might just be like oak aged, because I'm not getting any spirit, but that dryness reminds me of like an oak tannin dryness. So anyway, all that dark fruit, or all that the dark chocolate stuff, halfway through the palate, hit with a little bit of like a raisin, maybe like a dark cherry. It sweetens up like halfway through the palate, but then that dryness just starts pushing from the back. This finishes full on dry with a moderate bitterness. This is not sweet in the least. All right, so this is what I will say about this one. I do not think this is adjunct at all. I don't think this has any adjuncts. If it does, it would be something like a cacao nib, something that has more of like a bitterness to it than like a huge, like, sweeter vibe to it. Outside of that, I'm kind of at a loss here. When I first started smelling it, I was thinking like maybe like a Belgian Imperial Stout. Then I kind of went into like a rum barrel aged Imperial Stout. Then I'm tasting it. I don't know if it's barrel aged. And I'll tell you this right now, if this is barrel aged, the only thing I'm getting from the barrel is a substantial like oak tannin dryness. And a lot of times, even when I review beers that aren't Whodunit / mystery beers, a lot of times I struggle with, is it the dryness or is it the bitterness? Like a lot of times they intertwine. Sometimes you can tell it's one or the other. I think it's a little bit of both. I think this is moderately bitter, but also super dry. Huge warming into my stomach. I feel like this is fucking like 11 and a half. I'm going to say, all right, so what do I want to lock in? Fuck me. I'm going to lock in an oak-aged Russian Imperial Stout at 11.8%. I don't think there's any adjuncts, as I said before. I could see this being bourbon or whiskey. If so, I'm getting none of the spirit here. It's just huge on the oak tannin. Do I think it's an oak tannin Russian Imperial Stout? I don't, but that's like what my palate's telling me, so that's what I got to go for. 11.8% Russian Imperial Stout aged in oak barrels. I guess we'll see. We'll go from here. Oh no, gross. This is gross. I already see it. There's no fucking way. What's the age on this? There is no way that this is this beer. This does not. If this is the 2021 version of this, I don't know what happened to this beer, but it never tasted like this before. I said 11.8, right? I don't think this is that big. So this is Stone's Farking Wheaten Woot Stout. It is the 2021 because of the thing, but this has like pecans and shit in it. There's no fucking way, dude. Let's see this. So I said Russian Imperial Stout. It says Imperial Stout brewed with pecans, wheat, and rye, 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels. This is super fucking bitter. I don't remember this. One of my, like, the Goodyear, the Goodyear thing's getting ripped to shreds here. It's taped in so many different ways. I'm actually upset. I'm upset not that I, missed quite a bit on this one. I'm upset because I remember this beer being delicious, and I'm pretty pissed off that it's not. And I'm pretty pissed off I can't get into it. So what is the ABV? Of course, it's going to be at the bottom here. 11.5. I said 11.8. This is boozy as all hell. All right, so with this beer, I don't know if any of you out there have had this one. I've had numerous vintages of this. And I'll tell you what, I've never really been able to taste the pecans in this one. The wheat and rye 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels. Maybe that's where the rye came in with the bitterness. So bourbon barrels, I said oak aged, but since 1/4 of it's aged in here, you're probably not getting the bourbon. Imperial Stout brewed with the pecans, wheat, and rye 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels, 11.5%. Yeah, it's this beer, and I will say this right now: the most honest way to do a beer review is a mystery beer, or whodunit as I call it on my channel. And if we're being completely honest, I don't really care for this beer how it is. I didn't rate it before I opened it, but I would honestly, I used to give this beer like at least a 4, maybe like a high 4, like a 4.1. There's the stone cap. Maybe like a 3.5 max. Like, this is way too bittering. It's too astringent on the palate with that dryness. It's probably the rye, but I'm not really tasting rye. The base beer is fine, but there's not enough sweetness. There's way too much of that like drying like oak character. It's really boozy. You can taste it, which is why I guess 11.8. Yeah, let me take one more sip, but this is disappointing. Yeah, it's just, you know what the best way to describe this one? This beer right here, it's fucking boring. That's the best way I can describe it. You would think for something that's an Imperial Stout with pecans, wheat and rye, and 1/4 aged in bourbon barrels, there'd be a little bit more complexity. It's somewhat complex, but not in a good way. So how do I think I did? I think I did okay. I came within 0.3% of basically nailing the ABV. I called it a Russian Imperial Stout. It's an Imperial Stout, kind of in the same realm. I did say oak age is bourbon barrels. Did I get the pecans? No. Do I get the pecans when I had this one before? No. Wheat and rye, I think the biggest issue I had and where I kind of missed is I think I was mistaking that oak tannin dryness for, I think, like a spicy kind of rye dryness. I think that's what I'm mistaking anyway. I really don't want to drink any more of this, honestly. It's not bad. But nowadays, with everything's going on with me, with my health and the open heart surgery and everything, I can't waste calories, and I cannot waste, beer in general on my body for something like this. So 3.5 out of 5 for this is the best I could do. Maybe this is like a 3-4. Like, this isn't great. And how do you guys think I did on this one? I know Rating on Your Parade, you grade everybody's stuff now. I would probably give myself like a B to B+. I don't think I got an A range. Like I said, I pretty much got the base style somewhat. Came really close on the ABV. Thought there was oak aged, bourbon barrel aged, but I didn't get the pecans, the wheat, or the rye. And I kind of mistook the rye for the oak tannin dryness. So not much more to say about this one other than huge thanks to Steven for this one. A lot of fun. This is 7 months old too. I don't know how this one was drinking fresh this year. Every time I've had this one, I think I've drank it like maybe 6 months to a year old, and I remember this being way better. Maybe not though. Maybe my mind's playing tricks on me, and this is what I always thought about the beer, but I was drinking it and I was looking at it and I was, oh, I get that and that. That's why we do these. So huge thanks to Steven. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol Whodunit Beer Review. I don't really do price and availability on these Whodunit Beer reviews because I don't know, but I feel like I think these come in 6-packs. This is probably like a $15 6-pack, maybe an $18 6-pack, probably $2.50, $3 for a bottle. Even if it was 4, it's 11.5%, so I can kind of forgive that. But for me, this is not my jam. Let me know if you've had this year's vintage, I guess it'd be last year's now because this is 2022. Let me know if you've had the 2021 release of this one. What did you think? Was it as good as prior vintages? Did you kind of feel the same way I did, where this just doesn't work for you? Do you remember it being better? I would love to know, especially if you've had this one before. So thanks to everybody. To the next one. Cheers.